So the point of the story is when you have physical symptoms, it's because you have missed all of your energetic milestones when you were like not feeling good, very tired, sleep deprived, not functioning on all cylinders, and then kaboom, you get sick.
We held the vision, even when it feels out of reach. And we did that all week. Are you ready to take the next best step toward creating a life by design?
Do you feel like there is something more for you, but you're not sure how to get to it?
Welcome to the Momentum Podcast. I'm Molly, your health and mindset coach.
And I'm Lena, your money manifestation coach.
We're here to help women like you, whether you're building a business, scaling a side hustle, or crushing it in your career, take actionable steps towards the life you've always envisioned.
If you're ready to stop playing small and step confidently into the life you're meant to live,
join us on this journey of growth, alignment, and unstoppable momentum. Let's take the next best step together. Welcome back. Well, this week we are keeping it real because life has been lifing for both Lena and I. From unexpected illness to family emergencies, we have both had to step back and assess and navigate circumstances completely out of our control. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what happens when the plan goes out the window, how to stay grounded, how to protect your energy, and how to take your next best step. So whether you're in a season of growth, an action, or you have a forced pause, this conversation will remind you that it's okay to slow down, to honor what you need, and still hold the vision for where you're headed. So Lena, give us a quick update about what's been going on with you over the last couple of weeks.
let me tell you, I probably still sound congested, but this is a million times better than what I sounded like last week, because last week I had no volume, zero. And let me tell you, you know that meme? There's this dude who's like, I usually don't blah, 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 but when I do, like that guy with the beer.
Yeah.
I usually don't get sick, but when I do, it's all systems alert.
Yeah.
So the funny part is, I haven't been sick for a very long time. Like I had the mother COVID, like when it first came out, when we thought it was because somebody ate a bat. So I had that one. And I haven't been sick since then. And funny enough, when I was talking to my spiritual coach, she was like, girlfriend, your aura looks like teenagers' jeans. I'm like, what? She's like, you're like Swiss cheese. You haven't been taking care of yourself. So you can imagine that in every business, you take care of your business. Well, in my business, I'm the energy coach. My tools are my aura, my energy, my voice. And she's like, you need to go back to basics. You need to go back to your energetic routine and to your daily non-negotiables. What do I do? I'm like, yeah, sure, I got it. She's like, you got it? I'm like, I got it. I ain't got it.
She called you out. She called you out.
So I couldn't even call her to send me Reiki. So I texted her and she comes back. She goes, what did we learn? I'm like, we're not doing it right now. But seriously, when you're physically sick, you actually have missed all of the warning signs. So now, all jokes aside, as your energy coach, you guys, I'm going to be very honest with you. When you are sick and when you're having all those symptoms, it's often a manifestation of energetic imbalance. So what happened to me? I was lacking sleep. And this is no joke because we actually reset during our sleep. Yes, it's really cool. You get like downloads from the universe and you can connect to the divine, but it also resets your energy. I was ignoring rest. And then I had this overconsumption of energy. What do I mean by that? I was very very social on social media. I was working with a lot of new clients. Some of them were leads, not even clients. So I didn't even have like their energy tested out. I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't meditating. What? And I completely lost my boundaries. So I was coming in like a dumpster fire. And my body was like, okay, if you're not
Check,
hearing
yeah.
me, I'm just going to go in a shutdown mode.
Yeah.
So the point of the story is when you have physical symptoms, it's because you have missed all of your energetic milestones when you were like not feeling good, very tired, sleep deprived, not functioning on all cylinders, and then kaboom, you get sick.
Yeah. Well, right around that time, so a little bit probably the week before you were like down for the count, I had a bunch of family emergencies like pop up. My dad had a heart attack, and that was obviously a surprise. He wasn't home. They were traveling. So, in the
That's
span
scary.
of very. And so in the span of a couple of hours, I hopped on a plane to fly to be with my dad and stepmom, and my sister joined as well because we didn't know how, we knew obviously it was serious and he had developed, a complicating infection as well. And so we were just like, drop everything and go. And so that in those moments, you're, dropping what you have. I had work, I have my business, I have my family, I have commitments. I had commitments all of that week, and I had no idea what I was walking into. So that was really an interesting week of dealing with the unexpected and truly throwing the schedule and the plan for the week out the proverbial window and pivoting on a moment's notice. So, what's interesting is this is just another example of how we can identify with the fact that we don't have everything. Everything is not within our control. Like outside circumstances come at the most inopportune times. And so it's an exercise in figuring out, okay, well, what can I control and what can't I control? And several years ago, I was working with an executive coach, Katie Langford. She's not coaching anymore, but she shared with me this exercise that I literally was doing in my head. And it's called the circle of control exercise, where you literally take out a piece of paper, draw a big circle on the paper, and everything that's inside your control, you write in the center. Everything outside of your control, you write on the outside. And it's just a really good visual representation of where you can put your focus, right? Could not control the fact that my dad was very ill and in the hospital. Could not control the fact that I was going to have to cancel a week's worth of meetings because of this. But I could control my actions. I could control how I responded. And that really helped keep me grounded might be too strong of a word, but it kept me focused. Let's put it that way. It kept me focused on truly the things that I could have an impact on. So
Kept you anchored, maybe not grounded, but definitely kept you anchored.
perfect word. Anchored is a perfect word for that. And so throughout this week that I had, and throughout Lena's week, we learned a handful of things that we just feel like are really relatable and might help you. So, Lena, back to you.
So many learnings. So my first one actually came from my daughter, because when I rolled out in the morning, because I'm the mother, so it doesn't matter, hello high waters, I'm packing lunch. Now, mind you, she's 15, so technically she's fully capable to pack her own lunch, but I've always packed her lunch. So there is me running a fever, packing a lunch. She looks at me, she goes, wow, you should call your boss and tell her you're not coming in because you're sick. And it was such a funny joke, because in the moment, I thought to myself, oh my God, I have no business continuity in place. After 25 years in corporate, when I had an administrative assistant, staff, my team, my boss, like the whole company around me, all of a sudden I was on this island and I had call scheduled and training scheduled and clients expecting. And all of a sudden I was like, shit, I have no business continuity. And that was my first learning. The second one was, I'm a terrible boss. Because I was like, well, hold on a minute. Like, are we really calling in sick? But like, did you die? Like, okay, you can talk, but maybe you can like still write content and maybe you can. And then I was like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah.
This is you being incongruent with what you coach. Where is the self-care? Where are your priorities? And how can your business thrive if you're dying over here?
Yeah.
So guess
Yeah.
what? One of the biggest learnings that I walked away with was doing more doesn't actually mean you're getting better results. It sometimes just distracts you from the real work. And my real work was to pause,
Yeah.
take care of myself, rebuild my ripped aura, and actually heal my voice.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do remember distinctly when you were traveling and we were on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
It dawned on me that even in the midst of that complete chaos, you were calm, you were focused, and you were grateful.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
I have goosebumps all over right now when you were like, I'm so grateful for my family, for my
Yeah.
boys, for my husband. I'm so grateful for my boss. Like I have this structure in place to support me, like
Yeah.
this safety net. And I was like,
Yeah.
that is such a powerful energy to be in.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'm so grateful, for, I still work in corporate America 3/4 time. And I reached out to, my boss and my team, and I'm like, guys, I gotta hop on a plane, and they were so gracious. And they're like, go do the things. And the reality was like, I could still work from the hospital. I mean, my dad, praise God, was, recovered very well after that initial day. And so we were just a lot of that time we were just hanging out in his room waiting for doctors to come in and different tests and that type of thing. So I could still, be somewhat present with work, but I had the freedom to truly stay present with my family, So, and I was gone for a full week. And I mean, the last time, it's been a long time since I took a full week off of work, like, that wasn't like well pre-planned. And so that being able to be present in the moment, like we didn't know whether or not my dad was going to survive this, and so those are moments like you never get back. You never get those moments back. So I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to really like drop everything and get on a plane in 2 hours and be present there. So, in those moments, especially in the hospital with my dad, there was, and this is something that Lena has taught me, is to hold the vision of what we would love. And we've talked about this, in the kind of in the construct of, manifesting what you want to bring in and be a co-creator of your life. And it took on a different meaning for me when I was in the hospital with my dad, because holding the vision looked like being able to say, okay, dad has BiPAP machine on his face. So if you have ever had a BiPAP machine, it like covers your nose and your face, and that creates a seal to really get good oxygen into your system. And in doing so, absolutely makes you very thirsty. And he wanted water, and so this was that first night, and he was so frustrated, God love him, because he was so miserable. And I was like, you know what? Let's hold the vision that you're going to be able to get some water soon. Let's hold the vision. And Lena and I had like literally just been talking about this, probably in the context of my business or something that I was doing. But I was like, let's just hold the vision that you're going to be able to get some water, right? And the nurses are like, look, we'll talk to the respiratory therapist, but we've got to bring his heart rate down. He's got to keep this thing on. He can't have water or ice chips or anything. So I'm like, okay, dad, hold the vision. Now, I don't think he really, at that point, understood what I was saying. By the end of the week, he knew what hold the vision was because we held the vision a lot that week. And so
You had a believer.
oh my gosh, I think they were going to smack me because I was like, okay, let's hold the vision. Let's hold the vision. But literally within 30 minutes of holding the vision, respiratory therapist comes in and figures out, okay, let's take him off the BiPAP. Let's put him on a high flow cannula and he can eat ice chips. And so for a good hour that night, my job was to feed my dad ice chips, which was super fun. So, but holding the vision, right? So holding the vision, even when the shit hits the fan, when life comes at you and it's lifing, and there are things that have happened that you didn't expect, you can still hold the vision, right? So even the next day, he did so well overnight. But the very next day, he was sore sitting in that hospital bed. And if you sat in a hospital bed, you know, it's like not comfortable.
Awful.
Awful. And he's like, I want to sit up. I want to swing my legs around to the side of the bed and just sit on the side of the bed just to get in a different position. And I was like, okay, let's hold the vision that you can get up from this bed and you can sit with your legs hanging off the side of the bed. And you know what? Like, it wasn't an hour. I was just like, you know, and when I say hold the vision, I'm like picturing my dad sitting on the side of the bed with his legs dangling. Okay. Within an hour, here I am with the nurse and we're like getting him propped up and swinging his legs around. And there you go. He was sitting with his legs on the side of the bed. We held the vision, even when it feels out of reach. And we did that all week, just multiple times. Hold the vision, hold the vision. Now, what's interesting is as my dad was getting released, my sister was getting admitted to the hospital, which again, you can't even imagine. Like, we're out of town. My dad has like survived a heart attack in a pretty powerful infection and he's recouping. And then my sister gets admitted to the hospital. And so it's like, okay, what next? And so at this point, we're all pros at holding the vision in our family, you know? And so we got some very quick answers, what was going on with her. We actually had some of the same doctors and nurses that treated my dad. And I just feel like I don't believe in coincidence, right? And so we had a lot of the same people that we've been talking to all week. And it's like, we got to fly back to Dallas tomorrow. So we got to be out of here by 3 p.m. to make a 5:30 flight from Phoenix to Dallas. And I'm holding the vision. I'm like, hold the vision. We're going to be out of here. We're going to be out of here. 5 minutes to 3, our butts are walking out of the hospital and heading straight to the airport. So the lesson here is, guys, even when life is lifing, you can still hold the vision for what you would love. Just as if you were manifesting a new job or a new relationship or a windfall, whatever it is, hold that vision. You can do that and see what happens.
My favorite point, if there are favorite points in circumstances like that, was when I was like, put me in contact with your sister. And you're like, okay. Like, Molly has unwavering trust in me. True. And so, like, you can imagine, you know, this woman in a hospital and some stranger texting her. And I'm like, so here's what we're going to do. I need you to send me a selfie from the flight when you're like literally sitting on a plane. And I want to see a selfie and you can text to this number. And like, I could tell that I was tapping into her energy because she was like, okay. And I'm like, you don't think I'm crazy, right? She's like, no, I got it. We got to hold the vision. And I'm like, yes. And your vision is you sitting in the seat on the plane, sending me the selfie. And when I got that selfie, I was like, yep, that's exactly the selfie I had in my mind. So it was really, really awesome.
That was so powerful to hold that vision. And that was at that point, you know, it wasn't that I wasn't a believer in holding the vision for what you want, but at that point, it was just a game. It was just a game, hold the vision, because I had seen it work time and time again. I had just so much evidence of it. So again, I'm obviously a firm believer. And that was the visual. It was the picture of my sister and I was at the window. She was at the aisle. There was a seat between us. Nobody sat there leaning in. We'll show you the picture. I'm telling you. And that that's exactly the vision. And that's exactly what came through. What happened.
So for people who are sitting there and going like, those two are nuts, let me just explain to you what holding the vision means energetically. Your thoughts are pretty much formless substance, literally. They're very loose energy.
Yeah.
So what you're doing when you're processing them through your mind, you're acting like a conductor of energy. So when the thought goes through your mind, through your body, you actually add density to it, which allows you to manifest it or materialize it into a physical world. So, like this lip gloss was a formless substance at some point, but there was a human who processed it through their mind and gave it enough density so it materialized into the physical object. So that's what holding the vision does. It allows you to actually blueprint the same way you blueprint the house before it's built. It allows you to blueprint your reality.
Oh, I love that. So powerful. It's such a powerful skill to develop, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. So, biggest takeaway, Lena, for you from that week where you had no voice and a calendar full of appointments? What was the biggest learning that you took from that?
That I get to create my reality even in the thick of it, right? So I think it's fair to say that if you're a business owner, especially if you are a solo practitioner, you don't have like PTO, like paid time off. You don't have backup plans, right? You don't have a co-pilot. So what you do is you create that, right? And I think I gained a new realization where people like talk about how like I can work from anywhere. I'm like, the real flex is when you can choose when you work.
Oof, mic
So
drop.
it's not just like, well, I can work out of a hospital bed. It means I can choose when I work and my business will still perform. And I have the relationship and the loyalty with my clients, which means you're working with your humans who will hold the space for you and be like, go be sick. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
So I cannot stress enough. Self-care is your business continuity plan. Okay.
Ooh.
Your business is literally your energetic baby. And so if you're not well, your business is not well. And when you're coming down with physical symptoms, remember, you have already missed so many red posts. You're literally collapsing. So that's kind of like sucks to be you. Like I wouldn't recommend 2-star experience. So what I would love to recommend is think about, and I, as an energy coach, I don't ever advocate for worst case scenario, but think of the best case scenario. So if you won a lottery tomorrow and you wanted to celebrate that and fly your family to Bali, what's in place to have your business running while your toes in the sand? Okay. So we're not going to talk about being hit by the bus. Like I hate that analogy. Like if you're hit by the bus, we have bigger problems. It's you won a lottery and you want to celebrate, you want to anchor the moment. What do you have in place so that your business continues to function? Okay. And then I really would love for you to practice holding that vision. I mean, Molly, you did such a beautiful job describing it. Even in the most critical, no pun intended, clinical setting, you're absolutely able to design the reality that you want and anchor your attention to it so that that's where your energy flows, because where your focus goes, energy flows. So 5 takeaways, because I'm always 3, 5, or 7. So gotta have like 3, 5, or 7. When life knocks you down, your response matters more than your plan. Because
Amen.
you don't always have a plan for what's happening. You need the feedback in the process. So pivot. Illness or just any sort of like disruption usually signals the need for energetic recalibration. you're running on fumes. Okay. Number 3, checking with your circle of control helps you focus your energy wisely. Okay. Getting clear on what you can influence versus where you're spinning wheels will allow you to preserve your energy and invest it strategically instead of like being, like a waterfall. Because there are certain things that are not within our control. Don't even go there. Take it off your list. Okay. Rest, stillness, and self-grace are essential strategies. They're not luxuries. That unconditional self-worth that everybody who is anybody writes about and puts in shiny covers, it is this basic. It's like you stand by you when you are not feeling amazing, when you need a break, when you need to pause. And you can hold the vision for your future while giving yourself permission to pause in the now. It's necessary to remember we are human beings. We're not human doings. So allow yourself to be.
Oh, awesome. I love that. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Momentum Podcast. Thanks for joining us on the Momentum Podcast today.
We hope this episode inspired you to take your next best step toward building your life by design.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and hit that notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube at Momentum Podcast Live.
If you love what you heard, we'd be so grateful if you'd leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more amazing people like you and share this content far and wide.
You can also connect with us anytime at contact@momentumpodcast.live for questions, feedback, or just to say hi.
Keep designing the life you want, step by step.
And we'll be here to cheer you on. See you next time on the Momentum Podcast.